Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Just give people a moment to join and see. Our audience is increasing. Okay, I think we'll get started now. So welcome everyone again. I'm Kaylee Tate. I'm Head of Marketing at Max Contact. Before we dive into today's webinar, which is all about intelligent contact strategies, there's just a few housekeeping things. It's just the usual stuff really, but today's webinar will be being recorded. So if you have to drop off for whatever reason or want to share it afterwards, we'll send out the email with the link to the recording. We do have the Q&A box as well. So we have these live every month, and that's so you can ask any questions that you have that pop into your mind, and you don't have to reach out via email or via Teams. So please use the Q&A chat. It's really useful when we get some conversations going. So if you think of anything, drop it in there. And we've got some time at the end to go through any questions. So before we kick off, for anyone new to Max Contact, I'll just give you a quick intro. So Max Contact is the best cloud contact center platform for delivering conversation outcomes with customer insights that really help organizations to generate revenue compliantly. I'm joined today by Ben O'Reilly. So if you haven't met Ben before or seen one of our other webinars, Ben is our training expert. Ben brings extensive experience in helping lots of different types of organizations across different industries and sizes to implement effective contact strategies and maximize their customer engagement efforts via our platform. So Ben's really well informed to take us through how organizations are using Max Contact day to day and how they're adapting their contact strategies. So before we hand over to Ben, we're just going to touch on some of the more recent consumer behavior trends that we're seeing and that we're hearing from the market at the moment and consumers in the UK. So we're going to start by beginning those, understanding those consumer trends. We have recently done a survey and a piece of research in the UK market. So we've gone out to 1,000 UK adult consumers and asked them all about their interactions with contact centres or customer-facing teams, whether that's for sales, customer service, those billing and debt queries and conversations that happen day in, day out. So we wanted to really dig into how AI has impacted those conversations, what the UK consumers are feeling around some of the newer technology that's out there on the market. So we've got a bit of a snapshot of some of the key things that have come up from the research, which we'll share a sneak peek now. And then we do have a full report as well that's coming out shortly. So here are a few things that we thought would be interesting for you guys to know. So the first one was around, I suppose, understanding the modern communication preferences. 80% of customers expect clients to know their needs and expectations, which I think is probably something we all feel day in, day out when we're communicating with businesses. But a really interesting one was around the AI acceptance gap. So I don't know if this would be common knowledge, but maybe a bit of a presumption that the younger cohort of the UK market, the people that we researched with, have a higher acceptance of AI in general and are more comfortable with interacting with AI. And that's compared to, it was 65% of 25 to 40 and 33-year-olds are more comfortable with AI interactions compared to 27% of over 55s, which was interesting. But with 52% of over 55-year-olds actually being actively uncomfortable with AI interactions. Moving on to the human element. So I suppose this is goes hand in hand with AI. So despite technology advances and AI being the buzzword and the buzz piece of technology over the last 18 months, the human element is really critical. So 70% of customers do prefer human agents when explaining specific situations, or they have complex queries. And when there's an emergency, there is a real preference to that human contact as well. And it's the same when anything involving finance or, I suppose, really sensitive subjects. 47% of people do prefer that human agent contact rather than self-serving through digital channels. The next slide is around proactive outbound communication. When does it make sense from a UK consumer's perspective that you might reach out to me as a business around the different types of things that you might want to? When are they more accepting of that? So people are more accepting of outbound communication when it's in relation to payment and billing matters, account updates, and email is a strongly preferred channel as well as the initial contact method, and then follow-ups via direct phone calls, SMS, WhatsApp. We have talked at great length on other webinars around the impact that omni-channel has on whether that's success rates for sales and debt collection, or the actual customer service experience as well. So I think for us, the key things here were really that actually a one-size-all approach doesn't work. It does need to be personalised, and it is crucial to ensure that you're matching your contact strategy with the consumer's preferences, and knowing your customers is really the start of that. 76% of customers expect personalization and brands to really excel at personalization. So I think that's all well and good saying that, but actually, as organizations and people in charge of contact strategies, how do you make that happen? And that's something that we're going to talk about now with Ben. It is much harder to execute and scale across hundreds of thousands of clients and make that personal. But we can show you some ways that other organizations are doing that. So we're going to have Ben show us around some of the key features in the Max Contact platform that will help you do that. And also share some of the customer stories as well and the use cases for these specific features as well. So we're going to start. Ben is going to share his screen. Thanks, Ben. So we'll start by talking about something that we call in our platform outbound skills-based routing. And this really is ensuring that the right person for the job is reaching out to the right client. So we've got a client and a customer story around this, around how someone really made their outbound campaigns much easier to manage. Before they moved to Max Contact, they were using Click to Dial in Salesforce. They were averaging around 4 hours of talk time per day. They didn't, and by talk time in this context, that included all answer machines or no answers. So it wasn't a reflection on true talk time. So they struggled with reporting as an element of that as well. Now, after the move to Max Contact, they're averaging 4 hours of actual talk time, active conversations with their prospects each day. So that is excluding the answer machines and no answers. So some really great results from moving from a manual dialing approach to more automated and removing some of the ineffective work where answer machine detection is coming in, and maybe predictive dialing. But they're also being much more effective with how they're using their data internally. Ben, are you all right to give us a little bit more insight as to how they're approaching their leads and their data?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, hopefully you can see my screen, and I'm assuming you can hear me as well. Kaylee will tell me if you
We
can.
can. Yes.
Good. So yeah, so after they moved over to Max, they were using individual lists and campaigns per users to begin with. So if you can imagine, each one of the campaigns on screen here was for an individual agent. Within that, there was an individual list, an individual pot of data. Problems with that come when people are off sick. You now have to start moving around your lists, moving around your campaigns. So it can be quite a manual processes, which can take a lot more time. Um, they also have an internal process of prioritizing leads based off three kind of categories. So they have hot leads, high priority, and normal leads. So what they now do with Max is they apply skills via skill-based routing. So as they import their data in, what you can do as part of that import is map your data. And when you have a category of skill groups or skills on your CSV file, you can map that into our lead table on the system. And the system will obviously pick up those skill groups. Now they link into the skills that you can set up on the system. So you can create skill groups and you can create skills within those skill groups. So what they now do is they apply their skills to their data, upload that data, map it all in, and then that allows the data to be controlled as to who it's going to go to. So their process, only specific agents deal with hot leads. They don't want some of their agents dealing with those hot leads. They want the best agents, effectively, the best performing agents. Another thing they do as well is they utilize API imports as well. Again, same process as that manual one, where it maps the data across and puts the relevant information in there when it comes to the skills. What you can also do on the system with your users, and obviously you may have the best users and some that are not quite as good at other things, is you can also allocate specific skills to them and allocate a specific skill proficiency. So you can see here as a quick example, this particular user has got a proficiency of 10 out of 10 for customer service, 7 for dispute management, and 5 for debt collection. So you can also control it at that level as well. And, this user can handle all those types of lead, but they're more likely to get more of the customer service ones because they're more proficient with them. What they also do as well is they use fetch weights on their lists. So within this campaign here that you can see up at the top, I've got 2 lists in there. And on the right-hand side, we can control the fetch weight. So how much data we're dialing from each one of those lists. So the higher the number, effectively, the more data that you're going to dial. It's also worth pointing out as well that within a script, within a list, you can also apply individual scripts. So those 2 lists within that campaign could have different scripts around different products or services as well.
Great. What was the impact of that approach then, Ben, for the client in question?
Yeah, so now as I said before, they were separate campaigns, separate lists for separate users. Now they all log into the same campaign, and agents are matched to specific leads based on their skills. And again, matching with their categories of hot leads, high priority, and normal leads as well. And the best agents are always matched to those hot leads. But they can still, if they choose to, on occasion they can still deal with other calls as well, obviously. Before they did this, they'd run out of data quite quickly, and now it's spread out a bit more over the day. And the campaign's conversion rate before using skill-based routing on the Max Contact platform was around 4%. And afterwards, the conversion rate doubled to 8% compared to the previous period. So yeah, big improvement there.
Yeah. So I suppose the sales conversion rate before was good. It was in the good category. 3 to 5% is considered a good conversion rate on a B2B B2C sales call. They've moved up that category into 5 to 8%, which is considered an excellent conversion rate. So that's really good to hear, and some great ROI off implementing a really powerful feature. So let's move on to the next area, Ben. So this is our data prioritization tool. it really helps organization leverage real-time data for effective outreach. We've got another customer who used this specifically to help with their local market penetration. So it was a relatively new brand. They were established in 2021 and are in a really, really competitive market. They transitioned from an approach where they were using manually dialing via spreadsheets, picking up the phone, and lead volume was a priority for the customer. As a challenger brand, you have to make sure that you're going out there and fighting for every sale and lead that you can possibly get. Leads are generated via the website, third-party sites, and lead generation campaigns across different social channels as well. So Ben, can you tell us how they took that local geographic approach to their campaigns and what impact that had? That'd be really good to see.
Yeah, so if we look at that, they collected all the data, obviously, and they import their data into the system. They actually do a lot of API imports. So an API mapping screen here, just to call out there, you can import your data, map all your fields. You can also map things like skills and the skill groups as well that we've just previously spoken about as well. And what they use is custom data fetching to look at two things. They looked at postcodes and they looked at the area as a whole. So as we say, they were prioritizing calling data from Manchester area first because they're looking to build that presence in that area before going a bit wider afield. So the two ways they've done that is they use custom data fetching to build a couple of queries. Now, the first one they actually used was a simple Manchester query. So in here, the rule is effectively the city equals Manchester. So the system will look through all the data, find all the leads that match that, and then it will pull out those leads and prioritize them. I'll show you that in a second on another screen. But the other way they did it as well is they went in and they built some more specific rules around specific postcode areas as well. So for example, here, I can put in these rules where I've got 3 different postcodes that I can apply it to. So just jumping back real quickly to what that looks like in terms of the campaign. On a campaign, we can see this particular list here has eligible leads of 15,000 and then filtered leads of just under 7,000. So using that custom data fetching, it allows you to filter out that data based on those rules in there. And that's what they were doing with the postcodes and the Manchester area.
Yeah. And what are the other ways that customers are using the data prioritization beyond geography?
Essentially, any data that you map, you can use. So, for example, number of attempts when you're calling someone, redial someone that have had X number of attempts already. Retry your old data first. Debt value, fetch the highest value contacts first to get the largest amount of debt in sooner. Car insurance, so competitor displacement campaigns, target contracts who are with certain insurances if they've had bad press, things like that. Dates, customer signs up on a certain date and you want to schedule a check-in call after X amount of days. Contract expiry dates and date of births as well, things like that. So yeah, literally any data you want to map in, you can potentially use in those filters.
Yeah. Amazing. And I think this is the key to the personalization side of things, isn't it? It really, I'm sure there's so much data and insight in businesses. Understanding what is your process for capturing it, whether it's in your department or another area of the business. If it's sitting in a CRM or even a spreadsheet, it really makes sense to then start to use it within your campaigns and just be more intelligent with your targeting of messaging and the time of your team as well. Good, thanks, Ben. So let's move on to the actual getting a view of customer history and understanding customer intent, past interactions, and how you can actually get that data enriched. So when you are speaking to clients, you can start to build that profile as well of what does the client look like from a competitor perspective? Are they using a certain utility provider, or I've got a certain contract date? Seeing how a customer, understanding a customer is really important, and it's the crucial part of the campaigns, and makes great campaign success. So how can clients stay on top of this in the moment with their teams?
Yeah, so obviously customer by customer, you're learning about them, adding details to the right lists within the system. You know, you may deal with customers who you've got campaigns for multiple products, services. So, you know, dealing with them and making sure the data and information is up to date on those lists. You can keep it up to date in a few ways. So on screen now, I've just placed a call to myself. Apologies for the ringing in the background while Kaylee was still speaking there. Bad timing, I apologize. But yeah, what we can see on here is I'm on a call with a contact, and first thing you can do within Contact Hub is you can update the preferences, communication information on the right-hand side over here. So I can go in and I can add a new phone number, a new email address. I can copy those and take those out and use them elsewhere, and I can update their address detail. And that's regardless of whether you're using a script or not, and whether you've got that information within the script. You've also got the ability to update that same information if you've got it in your script. So for example, we've got address detail and information in there as well. And a little bit further down here, again, going back to what we talked about before with filtering data based on essentially any data you map into the system, you can also bring that through into your scripts, and then you can update that information on each call. Your agents can go in and can make changes to that data and update, you know, current supplier, who's your supplier at the minute, for example, with this one. But it can literally be any data on their contract, expiry dates, debt amounts, so on and so forth, dates of birth and what have you. The other area that you can do within here is keeping notes. So getting your agents to add notes to the calls about the customer, what's gone on previously, what's happened on this particular call, adding those notes to the active call so that they are recorded for future. And then finally, agents have access to a history tab, which has the entire customer journey on there. So I can go through and I can see a call that happened today where the agents left a note, say the customer informed of us a change of address. And as I go through, I can see notes around callbacks, transfers, notes on the call if there are multiple. You can also click on these and you can see more detail if there are that more than viewable. And there's also some other stuff around Spoken AI, which is a product we have in terms of things like transcript and speech analytics, which can be pulled through into this page as well. But as you can see, I can scroll through this customer's entire history to see everything that's gone on with them on the system.
Cool. Thanks, Ben. Next, we're going to talk about the need for speed. Had to get that one in there. So all about how reaching out to your leads and contacting people, what is the impact of speed, essentially. So we're going to talk through how you can do that. But first, there's a couple of research pieces really that help us really show how important speed is. So there's some research from MIT over, they analysed over 15,000 leads and over 100,000 call attempts over 3 years. The study revealed that the odds of contacting a lead decreased by 10 times in the first hour. So if you are not moving quickly with anything that is coming inbound, then you are really damaging your conversion rates of campaigns. So the odds of qualifying a lead are 21 times higher when contacted within 5 minutes compared to 30 minutes as well. There's more support for the need for speed. So there's another study from Conversica who revealed that a significant decrease in lead conversion rates with increase in response times. So specifically within 5 minutes, the conversion rate is around 70%. People are in the moment, they're ready to have a conversation if they've filled in a form on your website or perhaps on a comparison site, they're in that frame of mind, they're ready to talk about it. the conversion rate drops to 50% within 30 minutes and 20% within an hour. And it drastically falls when it's over 24 hours to around 5%. So customers, and not just you, we all spend a lot of money and time on generating high value leads for our businesses. How do you make sure that you are outside of that 2% conversion rate stat? How do you make sure that you are performing as best you can? So over to you, Ben.
Sorry, I muted myself there. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about HubSpot integration. So the customer, one of our customers uses HubSpot integration to create an automated lead management workflow that eliminates the manual processes and speeds up the response times. So when prospects submit inquiries to the website, the integration automatically creates high priority records in Max Contact and enables agents to contact leads within seconds of the submission. The syncing of the data, call activities, and outcomes means that they're instantly added to both systems. Also, call recordings are automatically stored and linked with HubSpot for quality monitoring as well. Agent-wise, they can get screen pops with instant access to complete customer records, allowing them to maintain context during conversations without having to switch between multiple systems, which can obviously sometimes cause a few issues or delay things. The integration also enables automated workflow triggers based off HubSpot lifecycle stages. So it ensures leads are followed up and processed according to their status. And this approach, a streamlined approach, has really helped the customer to improve the contact rate and conversion metrics by ensuring that leads are contacted during peak interest periods, whilst it also maintains the records of all interactions across both of the platforms as well.
Yeah, so integration is really key, well, a key driver for that speed here. So whether it's HubSpot or another, it's ensuring that you have the right connection between where your data is being held, where it's coming in, how you respond to it, and then we can obviously have the campaigns and the right responses to that inbound contact. Good. And apologies, I was a bit slow to share that slide then, but here it is. So I think next we'll chat about how do you understand whether what you're doing is working. So what works for one client might not work for all of them. How do you understand those patterns in behavior and refine your contact strategy? Everyone's customer base and contact strategy differs. What's important for you to understand is what works for you. What are the best ways people can do that, Ben?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. Reporting wise, first of all, Max Contact's got over 40 out of the box reports to measure success. You can also build your own custom reports within the platform, and you can also speak to us about having other reports built in as well. And then with the introduction of speech analytics, you've got access to more data than you've had before through the contact center. So it allows you to see trends, draw comparisons, and sort of deep dive into what's going on behind the numbers that you can see in the reports. And it also allows you to anticipate future consumer needs as well. So yeah, that's our sort of spoken AI platform with speech analytics in there as well.
Good. And we do have, if this is, I suppose, spoken AI, is it interesting to you? We have got previous webinars that cover exactly what this is and the value that it brings to the contact center. And I believe our next webinar next month is going into a deep dive of some of the newer features and things that we've introduced. Good. Before we get to our Q&A then, just a quick overview from me on our research piece. So this is where we got some of the stats earlier on from. So if you do want this research report in your inbox, there's a QR code there that you can scan with your phones now. That will take you to a form which you just need to fill in, and we will send it you. It's due for release in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's the deep dive on what the 1,000 UK consumers believe about their recent call center experiences. So yeah, I think it's got some really good insights in there as to how things have changed, what different demographics of audiences want from a contact center as well. So it's a really useful report that I'd encourage you to go and download and help inform your contact strategies. And then before we go to our Q&A, just a few key takeaways from me. So thanks, Ben, for the insights and the demos. So here are some of the key takeaways. So number one is understanding your consumer preferences is essential. So we know different people have different communication preferences. They also have different preferences of products as well. So there's no point plugging a certain product to me if I've got a dog at home. I don't want to hear about cat food or cat insurance. I don't know if they do specific cat insurance actually. I don't know if that's a thing, but anyway, you get the point. And knowing when to use AI versus human interactions and having people involved in your communication process is crucial for customer satisfaction. Second one, speed to lead is critical for conversions. Respond within 5 minutes and you'll achieve or can achieve up to 70% conversion rate on those conversations. After 24 hours, it drops dramatically to around 2%. Thirdly, data prioritization enhances outreach efficiency. So strategic routing of contacts to the right agents significantly improves results. And customizing fetch rates based on priority can double conversion rates as well. AI and speech analytics do unlock deeper insights. So whether I think reports are great for seeing that day-to-day side of things, that I suppose real-time update as to what's happening within a campaign or within a team. Speech analytics really helps to understand the high level trends and gives you more visibility into those customer interactions and really helps spot those trends at a higher level across your entire teams or campaigns and really track that over time as well. And then finally, the centralized campaign management really increases efficiency as well. So unified campaign management simplifies operations, and skills-based routing ensures that the right people are handling the right contacts or leads for your business. So that's the key takeaways. I believe we have got a few questions. Just bear with me. I'll stop sharing my screen so I can see Ben as well. And I'll get to these questions now. Lost my Zoom panel. Here we are. Okay, so if you have 10 agents on a campaign, but only 5 have a customer service skill, but are not available, will the call move to the other 5 that do not have that skill? Sorry, fluff that question up there, Ben. Did you get it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, we don't want calls not to be made, obviously. So we can set it up so that yeah, those calls will still go to other agents who don't necessarily have that skill. So you can look at the originally assigned agent, then you can look at the same skill but different proficiency levels, and then yeah, any agent available. So yeah, 100% that will do that.
Okay, good. Thanks, Ben. So can SQL queries be used to initiate a WhatsApp I think that's and say a WhatsApp interaction? For example, after a certain number of days after signing up with a supplier, can you send a check-in via WhatsApp, maybe via SMS? What are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that we've done that before with SMS. That's something that we can definitely do. WhatsApp, I'm not 100% sure is my honest answer on whether or not we can do that, but it's certainly something that we've done before, as I say, with SMS. So I would imagine from the technical side of things, I'm doing a lot of imagining because I'm not as technical as some at the company, that's something that we could do. as well. But yeah, certainly we've done that with SMS before, 100% on that side of it. So yeah, WhatsApp, I would imagine it's possible.
Yeah, and I believe WhatsApp has, I suppose, more the opt-in and opt-out compliance requirements as well with WhatsApp. So we've got more information on WhatsApp, and we'll come back to we'll perhaps link to that in the follow-up email actually, because it was an anonymous person who asked that one. So we've got, how do you gather a customer list integration?
So in what respect? So I guess
Yeah. So maybe yeah, if you could provide a little bit more
yeah,
context for that one, Carl, that would be useful.
I was
Maybe
gonna
it's,
say, essentially
yeah, what are the
around.
different,
Go on, sorry.
what are the different ways we can get data integrated into the platform? Maybe could be
Yeah,
along that
yeah. So
line.
yeah, so you've got things like obviously your API import, so you can take data from web leads, for example. Someone goes on your website, fills in a web form, um, that then automatically comes through into the system, is imported in. You can do SFTP uploads as well. So there's a few different ways that you can get that data in, as well as obviously your integration with things like HubSpot and other CRMs and systems available as well.
Yeah,
Not sure if that answered the question 100%, but yeah.
I think it did. Carl expanded on it. So yeah, I think we've got integrations obviously that you can connect to. We've also got the integration marketplace as well, which has got really useful integrations in there. So depends where the data is coming from is probably the answer, but if it's a web API, then yeah. Good. Next question is, can we trigger alternative contact actions based on call outcomes or dispositions? I.e., an SMS or a WhatsApp is sent to a customer upon a non-contact via the dialer or an IVM.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we do that now for some clients. Depending on the outcomes of calls, it automatically triggers those messages to go out to people. So yes, we can do that.
Yeah. So you can automatically trigger it, and then can you also add the options to initiate it if someone wants to make that choice or not as well? Is it automated?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in terms of SMS conversation, yeah, we've got SMS within the omni-channel side of things and WhatsApp, so you can have those conversations off the customer coming back to you, replying into your SMS or your WhatsApp. If you've got those channels enabled on there as well, then obviously they can chat to your agents via that method if needs be.
Good. Thanks, Ben. And how does the prioritization engine work, and how customizable is it? Is the
Um,
question.
Yeah, very. Yeah, it allows you to create custom rules for prioritizing contacts based on your different data points. So again, going back to what we talked about earlier, things like postcodes and what have you, lead source, engagement history, urgency, any of those things. You can assign, as we said earlier, hot leads to your top performing agents, prioritize high value debts, etc., etc. So yeah, there's lots of ways, and it's totally bespoke how you want to do it. It's based on your data, whatever you're mapping. We can use those filters, those options with skill-based routing as well on there also.
Yeah, I think in a previous life, I worked at a telecoms organization, and we always targeted our audience based on their demographic profile. They were quite a high-end provider and weren't the cheapest on the market. So we wanted to make sure that all our effort from a marketing and sales perspective was put in the right place. So we used to use mosaic profiles. So if you've got things like that that perhaps sit within marketing and sales teams, and you know how an organization is going to market, you can really utilize that in the contact center, or whether that's an extension of the sales team. It's really useful ways of using data. Good. I think that's it for our questions now. Unless there's any more, they usually flood in when I say that. So thank you very much, everyone, for sticking around, and for all your questions as well. It was great. Hopefully you did find this useful. If you've got any feedback, let us know. We'll link to the couple of things that we mentioned around integrations and WhatsApp as well in the follow-up emails, so you can get those answers. And that's it from us. Thank you very much, Ben. And thank you very much for joining us. Bye.